Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dines with Dara on the Joy Slot podcast, brought to you by IrishSportsDaily.com. I'm Greg Flammang, and that is Dara Mabrey. We are here to recap Notre Dame's big victory in Knoxville against the Tennessee Volunteers. Notre Dame wins the game 74-69. Big second half comeback, down by as many as 16 points. Things did not look good in the first half there, Dara. Shots weren't falling. 10 of 36 shooting in the first half. That's not going to win you any basketball games. 21 of 36 in the second half. That will win you a lot of basketball games. Didn't hit any threes, and got outscored on the free throws, but they still managed to win the game. So we're going to talk about that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If this is your first time catching our show, please subscribe to our channel. Please hit the like button. Please hit the notification bell so you know it is whenever it is we release a show. And hit us up in the comments and let us know what you think. It was a nice treat yesterday having the ladies come back the way they did. And the ladies had a treat for us, and we have a treat for you. If you're looking to buy something for your significant other, your dad, your brother, your husband, whatever it may be, hit up ESQ Clothing and check out their bamboo dress shirt, which you've seen on all of Notre Dame's favorite coaches and players. It's the most comfortable dress shirt you'll ever see. Made of sustainable bamboo fibers, the bamboo shirt is naturally odor-resistant, wrinkle-resistant, and even machine washable. Also 3 degrees cooler than cotton, so you can sweat it out in the final 2 minutes of the ladies' game like everyone was sweating it out last night.
Yeah.
Get ahead of the holiday season. Use ISD 25 to get 25% off your online purchase at esqclothing.com or visit God Chicago showroom to get your perfect custom fit. Dara, it was a tight one last night. Very tight on the road in a hostile environment. I want to know, how does Dara Mabrey take in a tight? But are you pacing? Are you just on your phone? Are you quiet? Are you yelling? What is it? What does it look like you watching a Notre Dame ladies basketball game?
Well, a game like that, obviously, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, like sitting right at the edge of the couch. I actually watched it with Maya Dodson, another Notre Dame women's basketball alum. As you guys know, we watched it together at my house, and we were on the edge of our seat the entire time. It was frustrating in the first half. Things just weren't really going our way. We couldn't find any groove. And then they really turned it up in the second half. And it was for that type of game that I watched, I was really proud of them. That's a really, really hard task. Winning on the road is not easy, and winning in an environment like that with some players out, really, really good game, and like great leadership, great chemistry, and it really showed like down the stretch. So it was great. I was happy. Anxious for maybe 37 minutes of the game, and then the last 3 we were cruising.
Were you yelling? Do you yell?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I would have liked to seen a better officiating performance in that game. I think there was a lot of questionable calls on both ends. So I showed some emotions during those times. But even like the little mistakes that we were making, or like missing easy layups, like especially in the second quarter, like those were stuff I would just be like, oh my gosh, like saying a lot of other words. So yeah,
it's tough. Yeah, the one I texted you about was the end of the third. Notre Dame was down 2, and Tennessee drives, and she does a little spin in the paint, and she flails the shoulder, and Anna is in complete retreat. This kills me about refs, especially in basketball, right? Well, it only happens in basketball, but it kills me like when you have a defender who is retreating, who is trying not to create contact. Like they don't want contact. I am getting out of the way. I am moving. I have my hands up, and the offensive player initiates contact. Why is that a defender problem? I don't understand that. I don't understand why that call has to get made. And so that was the one that kind of drove me insane. I didn't like that. But then you get caught up in the rest of the game. And fortunately, there's both ways. There's ticky-tack stuff going on. And that's just kind of normal for any basketball game. But let's look at the big picture of it. To win a game like this, when Hannah has an off shooting night. She's 5 of 17 on the night. By far her worst offensive game, so far in her short career here. Only her 7th game, but it was by far her worst shooting one. And you have Sony out, and you obviously don't have Olivia, right? And Cass also was out with an injury. So I mean, those are 3 key players, right? Players that you expect to be, when they're playing, they're going to be shouldering a lot of the scoring load. They're out, and Notre Dame finds the way to win the game. Tell me if you're on that team, what is it? Is it one of those like kind of springboarding wins? Like, hey, like in the locker room, it's like, you know what, man, like brings the ladies together, brings the girls together, and it gives you kind of that confidence as you head on into the tougher games in the year.
Yeah, for sure. And our team, like, you have to credit our team for how much adversity we've faced over the last 2 years. Last year I went down, and then Olivia went down, and then now we're battling some more injuries, and it kind of feels like your back's against the wall, and you either are going to fight back and finish it, or like you could fold miserably and not have as much help as you normally have. So like there's more pressure on a collective performance because you need so much out of every single person. But they rose to that standard, like it probably felt like the pressure was off of them, but they rose to the occasion and they fought back. And great group performance, like from top to bottom. We'll get into it more, but they fought through adversity maturely. They showed leadership, and that's everything. If you think about it, all odds were against them. They're away on the road against a really good team, not a great officiating night, and they're down really significant players. So that's a gutsy road win, and obviously any coach, any program player is taking a win like that.
So speaking of being down early, you're down 37-25 at halftime. In the first quarter, you shoot 5 of 19. And that's not going to get it done, right? That's not going to work out. Luckily, Tennessee only 6 of 17 for their part, but they were 5 of 6 from the free throw line. So that gave them an 8-point lead coming out of the first quarter. They also hit 2 threes. Obviously, Notre Dame didn't hit any because they didn't hit any in the game. Second quarter, Tennessee, they kind of heated up a little bit. 8 of 14 shooting for them. Notre Dame, 5 of 17 right there. So like it just wasn't happening for them at the from the field. They made it up a little bit at the free throw line. And at that point, it didn't look good, right? No one was playing well at that point. Offensively, defensively, not the worst you've seen, but it's just like, Muffet even talked about it. Like, where are those stops going to come from, right? Like, who's going to step up there? And then in the third quarter, it all kind of happened for Notre Dame. They win the third quarter, 23 of 16, 11 of 15 shooting, 73%. And then in the fourth quarter, they followed that up with 10 of 21 with 48% shooting, which like 10 of 21 isn't like a great percentage, but to make 10 shots, right? Like that is the thing. Getting a lot of second chances, right? 13 rebounds in the fourth quarter there. That makes a huge difference. Led by Nat Marshall. I mean, I think we could call it the Nat Marshall game, right? Like Notre Dame needed someone to step up in this one. And you don't know who it's going to be. And Muffet talked about this, the leadership, the accountability. You need it from someone. And that was Nat. You texted me like Nat is leading this charge in the third quarter. Tell me what you saw from her and what made you kind of make that determination.
She was fearless. Like when she came in the game, she made an impact immediately. And that's because she looked confident and comfortable. She's been practicing really well, hitting her free throw jumper. And she just kind of is the epitome of making the most of your opportunity. Unfortunately, through her first couple of years, she battled some injury, maybe not as much playing time as she wanted. And now she's out there making the most of her opportunity. And it's because she stayed ready. So she came in there fearless. She was defending, blocking shots, getting boards, going back up. She even had like a transition layup. So it was just in due time we were going to see Nat Marshall. But I mean, she basically put the team on her back because she was consistent and she came in and everybody was matching that energy. Even the bench was so hyped for her. She just created like so many good things for the team last night. And I'm really proud of her.
I thought Anna was also active in that third quarter, leading the comeback, getting out on the break. Hannah made one of the best passes you'll ever see. Tennessee was in transition. Hannah cut it off, picked it off, and then little thread of the needle bounce pass right in stride to Anna for a nice layup. Anna had another steal for a layup there. KK came in and had some really good transition plays. Yeah, and their defense really stepped up in the third quarter. And that was another thing that Muffet brought up when we talked to her. By the way, folks, if you haven't watched it yet, check out our Muffet McGraw interview. It's on the Irish Sports Daily channel. If you search for Dines with Dara or the Joy Slot pod, it'll come up. Check it out. Hall of Fame coach. She had a lot of good things to say. A lot of good things that really showed up in this game as well. KK had a big performance there. And so I just think it goes to show, like, Niele Ivey, we talk about how, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. She lives in this space, right? Like, always has to deal with injuries, has to deal with adversity. And she finds a way to get these girls to perform, or excuse me, these ladies to perform in situations where you could easily say, like, hey, we're down players, we're down 12 at halftime to this team. You end up going down by 16 at one point, and you come all the way back, right? And not just that, but you make up a lot of that difference in the third quarter. You get all the way down to basically they made up 14 of those 16 points and cut it to 2. And so it's just like she had them locked in. They didn't hang heads. They weren't concerned about the early deficit, and they came up and had a good performance there. What is it about Niele that allows her to continue to get the ladies to perform in this type of situation?
Well, part of the reason why she's such a great coach is because she adjusts very well. And obviously she was under Coach McGraw for a while and then with the Grizzlies. So she's able to make adjustments, not even just in-game adjustments, but in the scout earlier on in the week, and in some of those earlier practices. She knows what she has, and she's going to roll with what she has. And I think she also has some experience with injury and maybe being down players, not even just during my time, but if you look back when she was an assistant, Marina's group, that group from 2016 to 19-ish, they battled a lot of injuries, a lot of season-ending injuries. And I know with Lily Thompson, she even had some point guard changes that Niele had to manage because she was in charge of the guards as their position coach. So she has experience, which definitely helped her. But she's just a great coach. She gets it. She knows what to do. And adjustments, but I mean, she encouraged everybody to step up. So yeah, those are the X's and O's, but she can get through to the team in a sense where it's like, okay, now Olivia's down, Sonia's down, now Cass is down. Like, she knows exactly how to coach them without putting pressure on them. Like, you need to be perfect or you need to do this. Like, no, she just talks to the team. She gets through to them and is like, all of you need to step up and do a little more. But she's really encouraging through adversity, like we yesterday came in there probably like, this is what we got. And sometimes when you have that attitude, you have like the nothing to lose attitude, it pushes you forward. And I think in the second half, we saw some of that last night. They just came out swinging, confident.
Yeah. I mean, Reddit, like, this is how we're going to win, and I think as you're watching the comeback happen, like they kept coming. And the thing that I was most impressed by, it's one thing to, you go 11 of 15 in the quarter, right? And it's like you have a hot quarter, and that can happen, right? And you chip away. And a lot of the time what you see in basketball is you expend all that energy coming back. Like, there's always a run in basketball.
Always.
You expend that energy coming back, and then it's like, and then you kind of give it up in the fourth, right? They were able to sustain that energy. And there were times when Tennessee, they started playing a little bit better offensively. Like, Notre Dame was coming back and they were hitting shots, and then Tennessee would hit a shot. And it was hard for Notre Dame to really just get over the hump and take that lead, but they kept hitting those shots, right? Like, Anna hit a tough runner on the baseline there, where it was like, yeah, it was, I don't know, Maddie on the she hit one where she got absolutely hacked.
Yeah.
Let's call it like it is. It's just a complete disaster. Like, look, I think that if you hear the slapping, you go ahead and blow it, right? You can go ahead and blow the whistle on that one. I mean, she got completely hacked. They run it out of bounds play, and she's basically at not the elbow, but she's and not the sideline. She's kind of in that area there where it's like you could bank it, but she comes off the screen, catching fire, no hesitation, and she buries it, right? Anna's on the sideline. She hits a runner for a jumper. Hannah, a little, pull up J, like a little sweet pull up J, right? Like not drawing the charge, like getting up and hitting that shot, right? Like these are difficult shots. They aren't set shots. They aren't, catch and shoots like you're on the run. These are big time baskets in a big time moment. So I think that was what impressed me the most.
I think KK's impressed me the most, though.
Talk about it. Oh, wait.
Yes.
The turn in the lane.
Around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was just like, okay, the shot clock was running down and she was like, let's go. Like, I have no choice but to go get a bucket. And that's like, you could see her whole thought process throughout it. She jabbed and then drove and just elevated her. And it was so pretty. And that's a difficult shot to hit, especially during that time. But I think clutchest moment goes to KK for me.
And to your point too, like the shot clock's running down and it's easy to kind of rush it and throw up like kind of a bad one. But it was like, okay, this is the move. I'm going to execute the move. And she took the shot that she wanted to take, right? And like you said, she buried it, right? And I think Notre Dame had, the last 4 shots that we just talked about right now, like they weren't must make, but they came after Tennessee makes. So Tennessee wasn't able to score. You know what I mean? And that like really builds for a team.
For sure.
Notre Dame was able to kind of match them. When Tennessee was scoring, the one thing that I kind of felt, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on this, I thought Kylie was having a tough time in the post there. I thought they were really kind of hunting her on screens, on drives to the basket where they were screening with her player, and then she was having to come hedge and she just wasn't getting there. The ball handler, the guard, was able to get around and turn the corner to get to the basket. Did you see that as well? And then what did you see there? And then how Niele adjusted to that?
I think it was obvious that they were trying to make an adjustment because Kylie does have a history of getting into early foul trouble, and now we're down even more bodies. So I think that's what it looked like a little bit to me. Tennessee's post player, she was really physical. She was battling down there. She's good. She's a good post player, and that's what you're going to get, especially against an SEC team like that. So I think I noticed a physical post player along with Kylie not wanting to foul, because when Kylie comes out, then
she ended up with 4. So she had 4. She was playing 4 for a long time. Yeah.
So then things change, but it didn't matter because Nat came in there and was great. And that's what they need. They need more balance, like when they sub, and not having to make too many adjustments when you sub. Like when I say that, like the defense is going to switch up how they guard people, like depending on the personnel. So I think Nat covered that pretty well, which was great. But yeah, Kylie probably on the side more of not wanting to get in foul trouble, because when she gets in foul trouble, it doesn't do good things for us.
Right, because she's just not like you. We need a strong hedge there. Like you got to get out there and you got to cut off the guard. And it's just like there was too much of just like kind of opening the gate and letting the guard into the paint, and then that kind of compromises everything. Then they're able to crash the boards because other players are coming over to help. So it was just it like, to me it was like. Like you.
Well, that's also on the guards, so like the guards have to keep the ball in front of them better, so then they don't put Kylie in a position to pick up fouls, but that's going to come, like from the younger players and stuff. Like staying in front of the ball is a really big thing. Now we can't afford any foul trouble, period. Right. So it's like that's a team effort. Kylie is held responsible because she is the one fouling, but she'd be put in less bad positions if our guards stayed in front of the ball better. Yeah.
And I thought Maddie, big time rebound at the end there to kind of secure the game. I mean, it's like I said, it's a big girl rebound. It's just, yeah, like it's one you got to get, and they got it. And And look, they hit the free throws, right? Like it wasn't, Anna missed one. She missed one.
I know. She was so mad at herself for that.
Well, of course, right? Like a guard too. Like guards don't want to miss free throws.
Here.
But then Maddie hit some big ones as well. So ended up sealing the game. And it's like a huge win. And then Hannah, like, look, the nice thing about Hannah is that poor shooting game, she's doing so many other things. She does so much, and she doesn't. It's like she is so like she is the heart and soul right now. I mean, she's carrying them with the. I mean, she has the like she's okay. She's not shooting the ball well, and she gets the inbounds play, and she throws the ball up over her head. Like I understand it's like a layup, but it's not easy. Like you're looking backwards and you throw the ball, and it's like that's the kind of thing you get even on a poor shooting night, right?
Yeah. Great. She was great.
Yeah, and so it's just like with all the on ball stuff, like it creates so many poor possessions for the opposition, and then she gets the ball in transition. She gets the ball. She moves the ball around. Just like she's doing so, like her shooting percentage is honestly like it's almost besides the point.
Right.
With
it didn't even matter
with her. Yeah. So it's just what a tremendous competitor there. And the team clearly feeds off of it as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And honestly, like even watching, like I feed off of it. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like she just has,
yeah.
she has great energy. So where do you think this kind of takes the team now? Like, do you think this is like a building block for something bigger? Do you think they're going to start to, really go on that upward trend? Where do you think this leads for the girls?
Yeah, it's like a confidence booster. I mean, and it happened last year. Like when Liv got hurt in that Louisville game, we stepped up. When everyone thought, we were going to fold and odds are against us, it gives you the confidence because as a team, you're then like, okay, well, look what we can do on the road, even with limited pieces. Like now their ceiling is even higher. And it raises the expectation and the standard because it's like, you're going to play different teams before you start ACC play, before you play UConn. And everyone needs to raise to that standard, so there's maybe it's not an excuse. It doesn't matter if you don't have people because look what you did against Tennessee. So you can do it against anybody else. So I think it's definitely just a confidence booster and maybe a pressure release off of the coaching staff. Because when you go, it's such a horrible thing when you have to battle with injuries. It's sad. It affects the team. And then leading up to certain games, they might feel like they have to press a little more, but I guess they're looking at our team now. Like this is nothing new because Notre Dame women's basketball has battled adversity and injuries so well. It sucks that it happens. It's natural. It happens, but they've handled adversity so well. And only we know what we can do with our backs against the wall. And that's all that matters because that mindset will take you really far.
Yeah. And it's like you said, like, I think when someone goes down like that and like Sony, and then you have another injury to Cass, and obviously you have Olivia out there, like you can talk about like, oh, we're all going to step up and it's going to be great and things of that nature. But you don't know what it's going to look like, especially in like a situation like against Tennessee, right? Like it could just in the first half it didn't look good, it didn't look like it was going to go well, and it was just like one of those things. And you start thinking like watching like, well, it kind of makes sense, like they're in a tough position here, but they did step up, and they did a good job, and so it's just like it's a springboard to bigger things. Notre Dame has on the 6th, the next game they have Lafayette. Would you like to think that yes, they could handle that? And then you got Purdue on the 17th, and then Western Michigan on the 21st, and then on the 31st you have Syracuse, right? So
right.
You get 3 games in the next, like, I guess, month. And so that gives time for Sony to get back, right? And then there's Olivia's going to get closer there. So I feel like you get through these next 3 games and then see where things are with the roster, and hopefully it can come together there. So that's another reason why I think this was a really big win for the ladies. So we'll be checking that out. Dara, I think that's a good place to end it. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is your first time again. Hit the like. hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know whenever it is we are releasing a new show. We'll be back probably next week. Let's see, December 6th. We'll let them get a game. We'll have a show coming up next week. We'll have some topic that we'll talk about because there's a lot to talk about, and it's a very exciting time. So thank you, everyone. Links to the podcast are in the description below. Have a good day, and we will talk to you very, very soon.